everybody, Tom Vasel here, and welcome to Board Game Breakfast, the first Board Game Breakfast of March. No, the second Board Game Breakfast of March, but the first Board Game Breakfast in which I am the father of a 20-year-old person. Yeesh. It's 2020 with a 20-year-old, but hey, that's not what's important. Although, if you do want to send Melody birthday wishes, you can do so at melody@dicetower.com. But anyway, this is a fantastic show, Board Game Breakfast, and it's not because of me, it's because we have wonderful, fantastic contributors, and we're going to get to those. But first, we want to say thank you to Pandasaurus for sponsoring this episode. Pandasaurus has made many, many, many great games. I would especially like to point out, I was just at Dice Tower West looking at Dinosaur Island, which is just a really fantastic game. Jurassic Park in a box, essentially. A lot of fun. It's still extremely popular, and it's been out for a few years now. But if you've never seen it, you should certainly get a copy of that. Anyhow, I'm excited to get started here. So let's get excited and started about what I found on the internet. One of the most interesting things that happened from last week, the news-wise, was we heard that Plaid Hat Games had left Asmodee. Plaid Hat Games, the president of Plaid Hat Games, Colby Dalk, it's been so interesting watching him over the years, but what I really like is that he started by running a website called Heroescapers.com. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. Now, Heroescapers.com is a game about, or a website about the game Heroescape, shockingly. And it's definitely an old, dated-looking website, but it's still fairly active. Colby no longer runs the website. The inmates are running the asylum, so to speak, but they're doing a fantastic job of it. It's mostly forums where you can go there, and you want to know anything about Heroescape, that's the place to go. You're looking to buy Heroescape, that's a place you can look at. You want maps for Heroescape? Certainly a place to go to. But the coolest thing they do, and I think something a lot of people don't know about, is they're releasing new sets of Heroescape. New product for Heroescape dried up well over a decade ago. And they're not technically selling this stuff here. What they do is they get together, they work really hard on it, and they release sets. And these sets come out, and you can use figures that you can buy in the stores or online from HeroClix and other miniatures that you'll find, whether they're superheroes or not. And the cards, you can print out the cards and you make it all yourself, but it works in the game. It's homebrewed stuff, right? But I have a lot of it, not any of the modern stuff, which I should probably hunt down, but I have a lot of that older stuff, and it really works well. It feels balanced. It feels like it goes in because people put their minds to it. And since the game is dead and over with, who cares? It's extra stuff. So if you have any interest at all in Heroescape, then you definitely need to check out Heroescapers.com. If you're just hankering for more or just want to learn about it in general, it's a very polite, wonderful, nice community also. And while it's old and it's certainly shrinking because Heroescape is not growing in popularity, it's still neat to see people enjoying a game from years ago.
Hi guys, I am Randy.
I'm Eleanor. We game together.
Today we're doing another call video, and we're going to give you a little bit more time to guess whether we keep these games or not. What's number one?
Okay, number one is Sorcerer City.
Brand new game. Did we like it enough to keep it? We absolutely did. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
this is amazing.
Yeah, it's a real-time game. It's really hectic when you start collecting more tiles into your city, which you do per round. You get to a point where you will run out of time to put everything down, so you can't always grow your city to capacity because you run out of time. It's so stressful. And
monsters will start coming in at every level, and that will disrupt other things that'll blow tiles out, make you re-put out tiles. Yeah. Really mess up your scoring.
Curse you, Kraken.
3 different tracks that go up to buy and prestige and points. Lots of good balance.
The scoring is amazing in that.
Real-time stress.
It's amazing.
And it's amazing.
Okay, what do you guys think? Keep or call?
First class. A little bit of an older game. We've only played it a few times. And we're not keeping
getting rid of it.
Yeah. I would recommend this one. I think this is a great game. It's pretty quick. It's pretty easy. It's straightforward. You are building out these trains, and you can upgrade the trains as you go along. There's lots of different modules in here, which gives you tons of replayability. Lots of different modes. True. It almost feels like a different game of sorts, depending on the module that you play. I would recommend this one, but unfortunately was not good enough to keep for Ellen.
I am the queen of my castle. I don't want it. All right, what do you guys think?
Pandemic: The Cure. A little bit of nostalgic.
Well, Randy tried to teach me this game when I was in the hospital after a C-section. I was hopped up on drugs.
Was that nostalgia enough to keep it?
It was not.
It's not.
I
No.
just never connected with it. You tried teaching me even after we were home and settled in, and I was just like, no.
I would recommend this one over Pandemic personally. More swingy because of the dice, but I did enjoy it more. I thought it was more of a fun experience.
Okay.
A lot of similarities to Pandemic.
Okay, seriously.
Last but not
what
least,
do you think?
we have played the heck out of this game.
The heck.
Has it run its course in our collection?
Has it?
It is
not.
It is staying in the collection.
This is one of those games, hey, so-and-so is coming over in 20 minutes, let's just get through a game. It feels satisfying every time. You're building a tableau. I just love it. It's a classic. I'm never getting rid of it.
Yes, enough people have, in our game group, have played it, so we can get through a game in 20, 30 minutes flat. And that alone, if you can get to that point, this game is even better. Just be able to, it's just a great experience in a short amount of time.
Yep. We love it.
Definitely recommend that one,
hope you guys
even
had
to
fun
this day.
watching this cull video.
Oh, yes, they did, I'm
They
sure.
had a blast.
Did you get 4 for 4? Let us know.
Hey guys, welcome back to Mental Health Minute, and I was wondering, do you like my new setup? It's not really new, it's more I just moved the games around to make it a different aesthetically pleasing thing. What do you like your shelf to look like? See, I want to make sure with my shelf that at all times there's as little space here as possible. See this? This is driving me crazy. I have to figure out a way to fix that. Move the board games around like Tetris. Any little space drives me nuts, but the perfect fit, the nice fit of everything in there, sliding in nicely, really makes me happy. It really makes me wonder what other options there could be. What other things could be done at all? Some people do it by color. I've seen by color. That's a lot of board games to make it work, but it can work. I've seen that happen. I've also seen people who just shove them in there and where they best fit to maximize the amount of games that they can actually have on one shelf. Another really big thing for me is keeping them at the same height or tallest to smallest. And the board games always open up from one end, not the other end. That way they can all stay nice in place and delicately nice. Now, why does this matter? Well, because this board game shelf, you're essentially buying the advertisement for these board game companies, and if they look good, you might as well show them off in like art. I even have a few games up at the very top to show off artistically. Because board games are not just games, they're an art form. How do you like to organize your board game shelf? Let me know in the comments below, and enjoy your breakfast.
All right, so what's getting added to the library this week? Well, another playmat, another Blood Rage playmat, because Blood Rage is that popular. And then Roy showed these off in Thursday board game breakfast, but man, I'm adding these because I am so happy. I did a lot of looking on the internet, and this is easily the nicest stuff that I have found for Marvel Champions. It's just fantastic. So we'll be adding this to both of our sets of Marvel Champions. So for game-wise, we're going to be adding in Santa Monica. A lot of fun that game was. We're also going to be adding in Rex. We have Dune. Might as well throw in Rex on top of that. Traintopia. And even though I may be the only person who really likes this game, House Flippers might be a fun one. Ratville is going in. And then, of course, Sorcerer City. Then we have these humongous things. War Room, the Jumbo Pack expansion. It's not even the base game. This is the base game, War Room. We're going to see if people play these games. It's humongous, but I'm hoping that someone will get it out and check it out for the Dice Tower Library. I mean, this is a mega game, and a Dice Tower convention seems like the place to play it. And that's what we added to the library this week.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, we are Ryan and Bethany.
From Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we are joined by our very special guest, our daughter. This is our superhero daughter. She's going by the name of Super Cool today. We bring her on board because she's an expert in the field of talking about kids' games, and we're talking about a kids' game today. This is Valley of the Vikings. We have the German copy, Tal der Wikinger.
Tal der Wikinger.
Yes, she speaks fluent German.
That's not true.
So she can tell you this one has won the Kinderspiel des Jahres award, because that's also German. This game is a bowling game where you are trying to knock over these pins that have certain colors, and you get coins based off of where your guy lands. It's a lot of fun. All right, what's something you like about Valley of the Vikings?
Oh, I like everything, but let's be more simple. So, I like that, I like the ball and the board. It's not a folding board. Dad was going to say that. And it's a puzzle because it's a bowling game. And so that way it's easy to bowl.
That's true.
I really like that, and I think that it makes the game more easy.
Yeah. You think that kids your age would like this game?
Yes!
Whoa. Blew a lung out there. You okay, kiddo? Yeah, very excited about this game, obviously. This is a ton of fun for everyone in our family.
Speaking of everyone in our family, one of the reasons why I love this game is that it's one of the games that all four of us, yes, four, our 2.5, almost 3-year-old, can play this game, and she totally gets it. She doesn't get the strategy of it, but she can definitely play with us. Well, if you'd like to hear our full thoughts on this game, go ahead and check us out on YouTube or find us on Facebook under Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. This is Ryan. This is our superhero daughter, Super Cool, and I'm Bethany, hoping that you have a healthy, happy breakfast.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Love you. You should have...
Love you guys.
All right, folks, let's take a break here in the middle of Board Game Breakfast here to talk with Dan Hopkins from 2C Comics. What does that mean?
Well, it was from our game, Capes and Chaos, and then I liked the play on words, like to see. So the comics to see or the games to see, that kind of thing. So
this is a game that's currently on Kickstarter. Link in the description below of Capes and Chaos, and we actually did a live play of it last week where you can watch that. A question I got here now: superheroes is a genre that's there's a lot of superhero stuff out there.
Yes.
So you created these characters?
Yeah, we went through, created the world, a backdrop story, and a world setting to the whole. Yeah.
Did you create the world first and then the game around it?
Yeah. So it's funny because it started with as a role-playing game a little bit I did with my kids. I have 3 boys, and we played a little bit, and so I just threw together a quick story, backdrop, and superheroes. I was like, demons and aliens, and came up with this on a side. I didn't envision we would do a full game and company, but at that time, and so that was kind of the origin story. Came from role playing.
So how long ago was this?
This was in September 2016. So
this has been in the works for a while.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a few years. Yeah, trying to put it all together. So
now, one thing you can notice here from the cover, and then if you watch our game, all the different cards, there's a ton of artwork in this game. It's very, very comic-y.
Yes.
How did you go about getting that? Is this your artwork?
Yeah, not mine personally. I'm not an artist. No. We have artists from Brazil. Lucas Mayer and Giuliano Paratelli, and he's our colorist. So we have any of their traditional comic book artists, and that's.
But so there's more than one because the art seems to have a very consistent style.
It's all one illustrator and all one colorist.
Oh, I see. When you went, did you say you wanted a specific style, or did you describe how you want each person to look?
Yes, I'm the one. We come up with the characters, the names. I tell them what we're trying to do, and I'll look on the internet and find sort of like this, sort of like that, and work it out with them. And like for instance, Ramshackle. I don't know if I have a card from him here. He was up here anyway.
Yeah, there's so many different names on here.
Yeah, we had to come up with
Cryogen, Cinderella, Sleet Slash, Emberstorm, Napalm Pom Poms. That's a power that you have.
Yeah,
Bob Sled. He's a sidekick.
Yeah. So with Ramshackle was a good example. He's like a junkyard golem. And it was hard for me to, the artist created a robot, and I'm like, he's not a robot. Like, robot would have, like cool parts. He's more junkyard golem, and it just the translation or why we went through many iterations until we got what we wanted for him. And so, there's sometimes he's on the playmat here, but
well, about 10 years ago, there was no superhero board games in the market, or very few.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot.
Yeah.
So what did you do to make this one different than the ones that are out there?
Well, that's interesting because we took a concept from the Capes and Chaos name and said, okay, so Capes would be your cards, Chaos would be a neutral opponent, and I know a lot of them are either co-op or you're dueling directly. And the most common type of card game that I knew was dueling card games like Magic the Gathering and those kinds.
Sure.
And so usually you would have one side and you're fighting the other, and I'll take the villain, and you take or if however you're going to do that. So I wanted to have a game where it was a dueling style card game, but against neutral opponents. And that's because it's hard to find somebody who was willing to get beat up by you every time if you're really good, or if you're really bad, it's hard to want to get into the game and get beat up by somebody all the time. So I wanted to have a dueling style card game, but that was neutral. So that was kind of my starting goal.
When if you watch our playthrough, we played on a basic level of sorts, not super basic, but and then there's an advanced level.
Yeah.
When you designed it, did you start and go
All
down,
advanced.
or did you start and go up?
It was down. We were like, we had it all. We were doing it, and it made a lot of sense to us. But we had many years to progress to that point, and so when we started teaching other people, it was like their minds were blown. It was too much at that point. So
what made you decide to start your own company then?
You know what? It was. I've always wanted to do my own business in general, so I've been that way. But also, I wanted to do something we really enjoyed doing, and I love the gaming world. I love the world of make believe and comics and so forth. So it was a little bit of both. So I wanted to do that as a business, any business in general, and then I wanted to do something I enjoyed doing with a passion. So that's the two came together, and it came together at a time where we had something we were. The idea to do a business in a card game, we had already had some foundation with the role-playing game stuff that we were doing. So.
All right. Well, this, like we said, this is on Kickstarter right now. Capes and Chaos. Is this? Will we see more in the future in the same world?
Yeah. So that was the idea. That's one of the reasons why we're putting so much into the art. And there's 140 unique pieces of art in this game.
And a comic book.
Yeah, and the comic book. Yeah, we have a comic book sample for the opening origin, and so we had so much we want to do. We have more cards we can do in a release for this, but we're going to do a tabletop role-playing game as well in the same universe with this Kickstarter, or after. I'm not part of the Kickstarter, but after the Kickstarter's over, and so we'll start on that after we fulfill this, and so that's our goal to create the world. Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens. Like I said, check it out on Kickstarter. Thanks for coming. And again, we played this live last week if you want to see the game in action. Thanks for coming on the show.
So much, Sean.
Hi folks, my name's Andy and welcome to Potable Gaming, a show about games which are fun to play in pubs and cafes. Today I want to take you across the Summoner's Isle, an area-controlled dudes-on-the-map game for 2 to 4 players, in which you and your opponents are battling over supremacy of the titular Summoner's Isle to try and prove who is the best. The game is quite simple. On your turn, you will spend energy from the track around the board to try and summon creatures here, which are these cardboard shits, onto the map, move them around, take actions to try and take out your opponent. You do this by initiating combat, by adding the strength of your shit, rolling dice to see who is the most powerful. And the game continues until either you've reached all 6 rounds or you put 36 energy mark on the board. However, where the challenge lies here is that the energy board around here is not only the victory points to end the game, but is the resource you spend. So to summon your strongest monster will cost you 5 points. And as the game goes on, at the beginning of the game, every round you will get some extra energy. The higher up the track you are, you have to pay energy to play each round. So it becomes this beautiful, delicate balance of summoning the right monsters at the right time, attacking and taking over areas, because different areas will give you different rewards, and also making sure you've got the energy in your mind to lose it there, because as soon as somebody hits 36 or the game ends at the highest round, the game is over. And it makes a really fun little experience. I love dudes on the map games. I like the idea of seeing a map and seeing my guys and marshalling my forces and moving them in and going for those surgical strikes. But of course those games are normally massive. They normally take up a huge table in a full afternoon. The fact that this game fits on a mat here, as you can see, comes in a box bigger than a hardback book and takes about an hour, makes it a really good experience. I mean, there's a bit of a risk with all the bits being cardboard chits, which might get damaged if you're in a bar somewhere, but we've played this at the beer festival and it was fine and it worked really well. So if you're looking for a small portable area control dudes in the map game, I can recommend Summoner's Isle as something you might want to give a try to. Anyway, thanks very much folks, I've been Andy, and it's your round.
So what's coming from the Dice Tower this week? Well, we have Jeremy Jambalaya Plays Games coming in this Thursday. I'm excited about that. We're doing a top 10 list. He'll also be on our live board game breakfast and on our playthrough on Friday, our playthrough game. So there's 3 live events you'll see him involved with. I'm really excited because he's just a fun person to hang out with, and I'm excited that he's coming down here to the studio with us. We also have, of course, our live board game breakfast, like I mentioned, and I'm going to try to play a live game at some point this week. Not only that, but there's Q&A coming up today. We got reviews and things coming out. Mandy and Suzanne are also, me and Eric. That's right, Eric and I are recording the podcast this week. I should know that because we're doing it a few hours after I'm done recording this. And we'll be talking about more top 10 favorite games, more things. I'm pretty excited about some of the stuff that we're going to be putting on that podcast. And, of course, all our other great podcasts on the Dice Tower Network. You can check all that out at dicetower.com.
What's up everyone, my name is Melissa McCack and this is Smashin' Buttons and Slammin' Cards. This is a segment where I talk about a video game I love and I connect it to a board game I love. And this week I want to talk about Roller Coaster Tycoon. This is a game that I used to play as a kid. I feel like I've been on sort of a retro binge lately with these videos for some reason, but anyway, you were building your own amusement park in this game, and it was really cool because you could have different arcades in the amusement park, and then you could actually play those arcade games as the person, even though you were managing the park and everything. Either way, it was really cool. The music was popping, and it was cool to like make your own roller coaster, which was the main focus of the game. You're making your own roller coasters. You're placing down which rails you want, and if you want, like topsy-turvy kind of things or spinning, whatever. It was a lot of fun. It was really cool, and I'd like to connect that to Dinosaur Island. Dinosaur Island is another game where you're making your own amusement park. However, the difference being there's dinosaurs in this one, and you're trying to make sure that the dinosaurs don't eat your people, but you don't really have time to pay attention to that because you got these freaking hooligans who are trying to get into your park without paying the money. So, anyway, I really like this game, and it's really cool. You could make your own dinosaurs with combining different kinds of DNA, and you're putting in different sorts of, like you could put shops where you're selling French fries and all these kinds of things. It's really awesome. I like it a lot. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like, you could check out mine and my brother's podcast called Room 51. I'll catch you next time.
I love playing games in general, board games and video games. One of my favorite series of games of all times is Final Fantasy. And I like other games in that genre, like Skyrim and Breath of the Wild. And these games often have something in common with each other. I'll speak specifically about Final Fantasy, but it applies to all of them. In Final Fantasy, you get potions. And you can use these potions outside of battle or inside battle to heal your health. And at the beginning, they're pretty critical. You get potions, you use them, but as time goes by, you get more of them, and they're not as critical. Then you get high potions, which are better than potions, and then X potions, which are like the best potions. They fill you up completely. But then elixirs, which fill you up completely and fill up your magic points. And then the mega elixir, which you might find one of, or maybe two if you're lucky, that heals everybody and everything. And you know what? I never use them. Not the big ones. I say I'm going to save it for the big battle. I don't need it for that battle. I'm going to save it for the optional boss battle, but by the time I get there, I don't really need them there either. And I find that I never actually use some of these big things. A one-shot powerful weapon. When's the best time to use it? Next battle, because I don't want to waste it now. So recently, I've been playing through Skyrim again, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to start using stuff when I get it. I get this potion, I'm drinking it. I find this cool one-shot thing, I'm doing it. and I'm finding that I'm enjoying it more. This comes into play in board games too. I really like the fact that, board games give you these options and you can save it and use it, but I find so often I'll have this card, I'll be like, ooh, I can't wait to play this, but I'm going to save it for that perfect time. Then the perfect time never comes and I don't ever use it. I got this card that cancels something. Cancel that, nope, cancel that, nope, cancel that. It's going to happen someday. And I'm finding that nowadays I'm like, nah, I get this special ability, I get this tile that gives me one extra action. I'm using it sooner rather than later. Now that's not always the best strategic thing to do. Sometimes it's best to simply wait and save. And in real life, saving is definitely a good thing. But sometimes it's best just to use something. I mean, even in real life, I'll have this, box of snacks, and you'll say, well, someday we'll eat that in an emergency, or this fun thing, someday we'll break that out, and then you never do. Sometimes it's just fun to do stuff now. And even though it's not necessarily the best strategic decision, as I get these extra, something that gives me extra actions on a turn, or I use this extra resource, or I have this money, and saving it is a useful thing, but sometimes it's just like, you know what, I'm going to spend it now. And so I've made this new kind of change in my game playing, my board game playing, and it's working well. It's also working well in my video games. I'm just having more fun. Oh yeah? You weren't expecting this? Fire arrow. You weren't expecting me to add this stuff now? And I'm having a good time. It may not be necessarily the best tactical decision to make all the time, but saving things up and never using them is this hope for something that never happens. I'd rather spend that hope and have fun during the game itself. Sometimes the best time to do something is now.
Hello, and welcome back to Retro Board Game Corner. Here I have Pitfall, published in 1983 by Milton Bradley. This is based off of the exciting home video game version, and it pits 2 to 4 players in which you're all Pitfall Harry trying to get a jewel before everybody else. Let me set this up and show you how it works. This is what the game would look like set up. Everybody's going to pick a different color Pitfall Harry and start him here at the boat. You're going to put the scorpion here at the corner, the diamond here on this space, and these are the treasures, the gold, the silver, and the bag of money. You will just flip these over and mix them up. On every turn you have 2 choices. You either roll the dice to move your Pitfall Harry, or you can discard 4 cards from your hand to draw 4 more new ones. When you choose to roll the dice, you'll go ahead and roll the dice and move that many pips around the game board. Now, when you come to a spot where there's a ladder, you can go ahead and choose to move down the ladder to come to the underground. If you come to a hazard, you have to have that appropriate card to go ahead and cross over that hazard. If you do not have the appropriate card, your turn is over. The only way you can collect a treasure is by jumping over a cobra or jumping over the fire. When you're moving your Pitfall Harry and you come here to a hole with no ladder, you will fall down in the hole unless you have the appropriate card. The only way to get out of that hole is if you play a ladder card. To move the scorpion, you will need to go ahead and play a scorpion card. Now the scorpion just stays on the bottom level, and it's used to block other players. At the end of your turn, if you do not have 7 cards in your hand, you will draw back up to 7. The object of the game is to find a gold piece, a bag of money, and silver, and make it all the way over here to the diamond space. Once you have gotten all 4 of those pieces, you have won the game. Pitfall the video game was released in 1982, and I remember playing it on my Atari 2600. It was the best-selling video game for that system, selling over 4 million copies, and it helped define the side-scrolling platform genre. Well, that's all the time I have for now. If you have a comment below, or you can tweet it to me at RetroBoardGamer. And as always, may your rolls be high.
And that's it for another Board Game Breakfast. It's time for March Madness, and not basketball, but board gaming in general. Lots of cool stuff's being announced soon at Gamma. So I'm excited to see the new announcements from there. I'm not going, but we have some folks from Dice Tower going. Keep an eye on Dice Tower News, both the website and the audio podcast. There's an audio podcast for Dice Tower News where it gives you a short summary of the news each week. It's a good way to keep up with everything that's going on. So I'm excited about all that. I want to thank Pandasaurus for sponsoring this episode. Check out their games. I want to thank my contributors for doing a great job, as always. And I'm just glad for each and every one of you watching. We'll see you soon on our live stuff. Until then, I'm Tom Vasel, and this has been Board Game Breakfast on the Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production.